Hello and welcome to the Trish Rock Inspires podcast, where we explore spirituality, intuition, and life so that you can learn a different and greater perspective on who you are, why you are here, and find more meaning and purpose in your life. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. But now, sit back and enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome everybody to this episode of Trish Rock Inspires, and this is series 6, Sparking Your Spirit. And I've got the most beautiful, amazing guest today, Teresa Fino. So thank you for coming on, and let me introduce you and let people know who you are. Teresa is a vibrational alchemist, and we're going to talk all about that. A medical intuitive, spiritual mentor, healer, light language vocalist, and frequency virtuoso who is a trailblazer in the sound healing space. She works with mission-driven conscious leaders, visionaries, and change makers by activating and amplifying their spiritual superpowers for maximum impact. In addition to being a metaphysical educator and practitioner of the healing arts for over 25 years, Teresa is also an internationally published co-author with Dr. Wayne Dyer, Victor Hansen, and other luminaries in the spiritual and personal development space, and the co-host of over 100 online video and radio programs. Teresa is also a doting nonna who is passionate about great food, yoga, and travel adventures. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Trish. It's always a joy to chat with you anytime. We've known each other for many, many years, and it's always been wonderful every time we've had a chat. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. And I love talking to you as well. And we've known each other, as you said, for a long time now, and did meet in person, which is always a bonus in this online world. And, your sessions have been quite powerful for me. And also family members of mine and friends. And so I know the power of your work. So let's have a little look at that and let people know what it is that you actually do.
Question.
Yeah. So I know you do many things. Let's start with the vibrational alchemy, because this is really powerful. And by introducing that, let everybody know when this first kind of dropped in for you as a gift that you could share to the world.
Thank you. Well, I have been working for a long time doing other modalities, and then in about January 2011, I realized that I had opened as a conscious channel, and then I kind of went, okay, well, I'm waiting for it all to drop in. And then it wasn't until the 11-11-11 portal, so that's in November of 2011, that I actually did my first channeling. And then I said to my guides, I said, "What? Look, I know I opened up ages ago. Why didn't you give me more?" And they said to me, "Well, those intuitive hints that you got, and you edited a lot of it. We figured, well, she's not listening, so why should we give you more?" So lesson number 1 in channeling is trust what you get and don't edit. So there you go. So after a while, so it was a bit clunky at first. And then voice sort of started coming in, started doing toning. It's very clunky at first because your body actually has to attune to a new frequency, to a new vibration.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just like a kid learning to walk, you know, they fall over and, you know, eventually they get there and they're up and running. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then over some years, then light language started to come in. So light language is the language of the soul, which is absolutely beautiful. And so what that means is that your soul knows what to do with the information contained in those packets of weird and wonderful sounds and things that we do. I've also got another way of light language, and that's with my hands. So just like signing for the deaf, I do a bit of signing. So my hands are always moving as I'm working. So vibrational alchemy to me means that I work in the vibration on many levels. It can be in as far as law of attraction, like mindset. So that's the vibration of thought.
Yep.
I work with the vibration of just energy fields. And then I also work with vibration of like essential oils. So, because everything vibrates, right? So, and
Absolutely.
everything's got a frequency. So basically, I lock into someone's energy signature. We've all got an energy signature. So I lock into that. So in a typical session, I would actually energetically scan the body. So I'm like a little human X-ray machine. And then your body shows me things. It's not necessarily flesh and blood and bone. It's I see images or symbols, and then I've got to translate that into English. And so there'll be a little bit of dialogue between us. Say, oh, look, Trish, I see this darkness in your lungs, or I see this thing in your back, or whatever it is. So your body, I will always honor what the body shows me because I trust its infinite intelligence. So that's what we're working with.
Yes.
And so there's very little talking as far as, you know, like psychology or counseling type of thing, because we can lie to ourselves and lie to the person that we're talking to. So the body doesn't lie. So we're just going to go straight there. And
Yep.
so, yeah, so whatever I find there, whatever needs to happen, whether it's removing attachments, whether it's clearing energy, whether I need to activate things like the third eye, you know, some of them have got a bit of a sleepy eye, so I activate that. Whether it's removing, say, barriers like around the heart, you know, some people have been hurt so much, and then healing what's happened around all of that. So yeah, so like I do like inner child work, um, any type of wounding, whether it's this lifetime genealogically or past lives. And
Mm.
so, so yeah, so that's all done with the toning, the light language, both types of light language.
Mm.
Yeah, so I call it spiritual kinesiology as well because, you know, we're testing and going here and we're clearing as we go. So,
Absolutely. It's really a trust, isn't it, that you learn. I mean, when guides first came in and said to you, um, this is who you are. I mean, you know, practicing all of those things, it's about you trusting you as well. And I know that I bring messages in about people as well. I bring them in a different way, but you know, being able to trust that is an experience for our own selves as well. But I absolutely agree. Everything is energy, and everything can be energetically cleared. And I love the scope of your work because you're not just, well, you know, I just do this or I just do that. You know, anything that's out of alignment energetically in someone's body or energy field or mind, you really do help with. And you know, when somebody first comes to you, they probably, I know the first time that that I had some alchemy done with you, like I wanted to keep my eyes open because I wanted to see what you were doing, because that just fascinates me with all, because I do a little bit of that as well, right? So I just wanted, but now I just trust. I'm like, I don't need to watch. I just receive. But you know, all of the coding and the light language through the hands and all of that, it's just fascinating to watch as well. And of course, your your tones, and you use some instruments as well. And I have had an oil made by you as well, which was really amazing. And I can just feel the energy and all that as well. But the people who work with you, if they're new to all this and they don't have that practice in feeling those energies, they will still benefit as well, not even if they don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
Because there's obvious and definite changes that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love that just bypasses the intellect. We
Yeah.
don't need to know. I don't know what I'm saying while the light language is coming through. I have no idea. But everyone says, oh my God, that was so perfect. I really needed that, and whatever it is. So
Yeah.
just that very high level of trust.
It absolutely is. And look, I'm the same. If I'm helping someone with some energetic healing through, one of my modalities, I don't often remember, but you have to trust that too, because messages will come in sometimes and my mind will kick in sometimes too. And I'm sure this used to happen to you. It's like, that's crazy. You can't say that. And then now I'm just like, I'll just say it because that's what's come through. And it's always correct. It's just such a trust thing. And I kind of feel, and you might agree with me here too, that by us trusting ourselves with these gifts and these channels, that also helps other people with their own self-trust. Have you noticed that with your clients as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, well, the first thing is that being worthy to receive it. Like I know I went through that journey. Like, I always say a healer or a mentor can't take you any further than where they've been themselves, right? So I remember my first thing is like, who am I to, like, I'm nobody special, So that was a real that was scary at start. And then it's just through practicing and practicing and practicing that it becomes second nature. And so part of what I do is I mentor really high level light workers and who've already got gifts that are partially awake, like they know that they're here for something really big, but they've got dormant gifts, spiritual gifts. So I take them through like a 6-month journey, and it goes in like 3 parts. And one of them is deep healing, and we've got to do the deep healing first. So there'll be things like the witch wound, being invisible, any parental wounds, inner child wounds, that whole thing. Even though most of those have already cleared a lot of stuff in that area, there's always like a really deep layer that we can't see.
Yeah.
And so then we move into the next phase, which is activation. So we start getting into some really juicy stuff. And then through the activations, so we're calling through spiritual gifts and what they've done in previous lifetimes, because most of us have done the same work, lifetime after lifetime.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we just go, it just sort of settles in our bones and it just becomes second nature. And it just gives you that confidence. You're just like, I know this. Yeah, I can do this. And then the quantum expansion phase is more about, let's play with this. What can we do with this? And sort of really holding their hand. I like to say I'm like the Obi-Wan Kenobi to your Luke Skywalker. In female form.
Of course.
Yes. So yes, it's that, yes, Luke had the gifts, but he needed to be, coached along and use it wisely, and hey, let's explore this, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the sort of what I provide in like a 6-month mentoring.
And learning those gifts. Yeah. And what is it with mainly that people would come to, apart from the your mentoring, which you just explained, and we'll talk about that a bit more as well. What do people come to you for healing for mainly? Is it the because you're a medical intuition, you intuitive as well. Is it physical things that a lot of people come to you for, or blocks, energetic blocks?
Not so much. It's more, I work with more the energetic and the emotional, the spiritual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why are my relationships falling apart? You know, why can't I, I'm doing all the things, and why isn't money coming to me?
Yeah.
And quite often people will be drawn to me, and I'll get messages in Messenger going, I don't know why, but you just keep popping up, and I'm just keep getting told that I need to work with you. So they don't know why they're coming. They'll think that
I
they're
love
coming
that.
with something, as always happens, but then we find all the layers underneath.
Exactly.
Their
Yeah.
spirit has sort of kind of pushed them along to me to go, hey, she's the girl for you. Just go there.
It's funny, is I love how that happens. And I know when, because I referred my daughter to you, and I know, she really didn't have any idea about what you did.
Okay.
But at the end of it, she's like, "Oh my God, it was so amazing!" And I think you probably get that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to her and others like her who are willing to step into this world
Yeah,
and willing to suspend the disbelief and just go, okay, I surrender. That's
yeah.
just a beautiful place to be. And I just want to acknowledge the courage that takes.
It really does, because you're stepping into something. It's like, whoa, because I mean sometimes it does sound very weird. You're like, whoa, this is a bit.
Yeah.
But you have to, but you've got that way about you as well. So if somebody, that has never experienced your work comes to you and they're like, oh, I just don't know. You've got that beautiful way of putting people at ease anyway. And of course, on an energetic level, you can sense all of that too. So you kind of just cover them in that blanket of it's all okay. Just relax. I've got you. And that helps too, because fear creates resistance to all of that too.
Mm.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
good thing is that the tones and the light language kind of break all the barriers.
yeah, yeah.
We're just going to go straight through that, not in a harsh way, but just gentle, whoosh, like a breeze coming through your house to cleanse it. It's a bit like that.
Ah, many years ago when I kind of my guides introduced me to all of the things. I just found it fascinating, and I guess I've probably had several dozens probably of lifetimes using sound healing, because it was one of those things where my cells just start to dance, whatever sound healing it is, whether it's vocal, bowls, music, whatever it is, my cells, I just feel them jumping with joy. Wow, okay, there's something here. I want more of it, want more of it. And, I've taken on a few different modalities as well, because I just love it. And I can't explain it. I don't know why it does that. So do you understand why we feel good on a cellular level, and maybe explain that to people? I mean, I know a little bit about it, but you will be able to explain it a bit more.
I probably don't know the fullest depth of it, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
But I do know that the tones and the music that you listen to is so important, because they actually entrain your body. They're like a tuning fork, right? So your body's like a receiver. It's a receiver and broadcaster, actually.
yeah,
Right. So um, when there's music that's uplifting or something, your body will actually tune up to it. Okay, does that make sense?
yeah, and the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Any emo stuff, boom.
Exactly. I'm like that even with things I watch now. I can feel the energy shifting either up or down, which guides me as to what I want to watch or listen to. So it is a resonance thing, and yeah, your body will match whatever the energy is. And so when you're doing that energy work with people, uh, whatever's not matching, you bring it into a higher alignment.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
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 So I will provide the frequency for the body to match up to.
Yes. That's a fantastic way of saying it. Yes, I love that. Yeah. And you've got a really great way to, well, people can come and work with you, but to be introduced to perhaps some of your work. You've got an amazing group where you do a once a month an energetic healing, and I've been in that for a couple of months now, and I just love it, and it's just so relaxing and interesting on a group level with energetics. It's always perfect for everybody who takes part, always.
Well, it never fails to amaze me. Like
No,
years ago, because I was working one-on-one, and then years ago, my guide said, "Oh, you need to start working with groups." I'm like, "But how? How's it going to?" And they just said, "Just trust." Yeah, whatever. Just trust. But also they said, whatever we do for one, everyone will get exactly what they need. And then they gave me the example of Abraham Hicks. Esther will bring in one person in the hot seat, but everybody gets what they need from it. So I don't know how it works. My brain cannot fathom how one sort of vibration can affect so many people, but in so many different ways.
yeah,
And that's just the multidimensionality of the work.
it
It's
really is.
beyond my comprehension, but I just absolutely love it.
Yeah,
So I have an online, as you mentioned, I have an online group, and it's called the Soul Spa, because
yeah.
I like a spa.
It is. It's definitely like a soul spa.
And the soul needs a bit of nurturing and a bit of pampering as well. So I like to have the Soul Spa. And so once a month, I do what's called a sacred sound journey.
Yeah,
And I'll often bring in my instruments. I birthed my own shamanic drum, and so we might use that, or the bowls that I've got, or just my voice.
yeah,
And it's different every month, as you've seen. And
yeah.
I never know until about an hour or two before what the theme of it's going to be, when my guys will actually drop in. So that's another thing about trust too. Like if you subscribe, you just got to trust that what's going to come in is exactly what you need, because I don't know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think for one of them, it wasn't even an hour and a half. It was like just before you got on.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And for someone who's starting out on the sort of journey of doing this sort of thing, it can be nerve wracking of like,
Yes.
what if I get on there and I've got nothing to say and I've got egg on my face? Oh, I spend a long time in that. And then my guys are like, really? Have we ever, ever, ever let you down and have egg on your face? Well, no.
Such a trust game, isn't it? And I guess this is one of the things that you also help people with when you're mentoring in your, yeah. So you've got a beautiful 6-month mentoring container that, as you said, you have high level kind of spiritual people who know they've got a mission to do something. They've got their guides in their ear or their hearts every minute. We're not going to let you off. This is the message. So tell us a little bit more about that, and how you can really help them with their trust, their gifts, and really being out there in service as they're being called to be. Yeah.
Well, as I said before, we have to go through the stages of the deep healing, and then the activation, and then the quantum expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's different.
Yeah.
Every person's different. Yeah. Every session is different, and people get really, really surprised. We might go, I don't actually read the Akashic records like people traditionally read them, but we do end up in there. I also don't do past life regressions like people do through hypnosis either, but we end up doing past life stuff as well. I have my own way, like that spirit guides me to do it, but the really fun thing is when you're working with these high level people who've got their spiritual gifts kind of switched on, is we then co-journey together. Like I'll see something and they're going, yeah, I'm already there. And like we might be in ancient Egypt together. We're seeing exactly the same thing, or we might be off planet, or we might be doing, like, we go on all sorts of magical mystery wonder
Mm.
tours, and that's so exciting. They
Oh,
love it, we love it. But that co-creation and doing and seeing the same thing at the same time, that is mind-blowing.
oh, I bet. Yeah. And that would instill a lot of trust in the person as well, in them, in their own abilities. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I love that. So very organic, because you'd be working with very different, or not very different people, but you'd be working with each person on a very different thing or things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like yesterday, someone came to me and she said, "Oh, I'm so excited to go on a journey." Like, she's with her dragons, and I'm like, I think today, I don't think it's going to be that. We ended up doing inner child work, like really deep inner child work. She was bawling her eyes up the whole time, but
Oh,
with mother wounding and stuff. But
yeah.
God, sometimes that's just the key to unlocking, giving permission to the aspect of you that needs to be out there. This inner child
Yeah.
work is really, really important. Addressing these old wounds.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely. And yeah, and whatever comes up is always the next thing.
yeah, yeah,
It's always the next thing. And I know you will have a deep understanding of that too, because sometimes, people will come to you with a problem, but then you understand it's really not the problem. Let's actually go to the problem, as my guides are showing me what the problem is, and then that will have a knock-on effect to what you think the problem is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I always find it interesting how when we first start a session and, I'll say, okay, what's going on for you? And I'll write it all down and I'll go, okay, this is interesting. And then we go in to have a look, like we'll do the energetic scan, and it's
Mm.
nothing to do with what they said or wrote down. However, by the time we finish, they've kind of circled back and they've addressed it all.
Yep.
They are freaking amazing. And they're perfect timekeepers. Like, I've got my eyes closed, as you know, I've got my eyes closed pretty much the
Yes.
entire session.
Yep.
And, session's about an hour, and pretty much plus or minus 5 minutes, they're onto it. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm just in awe of them, and
Yeah.
I'm just in
trust.
gratitude because they are so brilliant.
And and really, if somebody is looking for that trust in their own life with their own gifts and talents, you're definitely the one to come to, because it does take practice to trust all of that and let go and get out of the chatter mind. And because as soon as you can get out of that chatter mind, and be in that energy of trust, amazing things flow in, because you're not blocking, you've got no blocks there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
incredible.
I like to say I'm an airhead now. It's just,
Love it.
and I'm a Libra, and like, it's an air sign, like it fits.
You're the singing airhead.
Let me get my air
Oh.
guitar out.
Well, I personally have experienced, and I've seen other people experience your work, and I know you're a very powerful um, healer here in this lifetime, and you're here to do some pretty important and critical work, of helping other people wake up to who they really are as well. And yeah, I'm just really very grateful and blessed to have you here on the show, because this series is called Sparking Your Spirit, and that's exactly the people that come to you, their spirit's being sparked by their guides,
I
and
love that.
yeah, and you're really helping people spark their own spirit of who they truly are and why they're here. And you do it in an incredible way. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
yeah. So I will have all of your details in the description. People can get in contact with you. But what's the best way? You can just tell people now, what's the best way to get in touch with you, to get on board with some mentoring or some energetic healing?
Um, Basically, just through direct messaging me, either through Facebook or Instagram.
Yep.
And my handle across all social media is at Teresa Fino Alchemy.
Beautiful, beautiful. And is there anything to finish up? Is there anything you'd like to say to the people listening today who perhaps have started to get those little messages from their guides, from their spirit, nudging them in a direction that perhaps might feel a little bit weird or
And she,
yeah. What can you say to them?
be bold.
Yeah.
Listen to what they say. And that operative word, trust.
Yeah.
And take it in baby steps. You know, it's like with relationships. The trust has to be earned, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not quite there yet to go full in, surrender and trust, which most people aren't, it's, you know, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Just take the little baby steps. Any little nudge, just, okay. And treat it like an experiment.
Yeah.
Just play with it. Actually play with it. Don't take it so seriously. Play with it. Oh, well, I'm getting a nudge to do this. I wonder what will happen. And then do it. And it's step by step.
Yeah.
Nudge by nudge. Every time they take a little bit of action, that's when they start getting that little bit more certain within themselves and trusting of themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Great advice. And that's what you did on when you started your journey. And that's what I still continue to do.
Yep.
Oh, getting a nudge to do that. Let me just do something about that. And, you know, sometimes the first effort or the first instance isn't so good, but you just keep doing it.
Yeah, well, practice. You know, just as I said earlier, you know, babies learning to walk, you know, they're a bit unsteady and they're going to fall down, and eventually, you know, it doesn't take long for them to start getting up and running, as we know, right? So
Exactly. And I also believe, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, that any inspired ideas that come to us that feel like they're urging us to move forward, it's definitely something in us that we're capable of, we've done before, we're here to do. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so sometimes people feel that, but they go into fear. And
Yes.
this is often where they'll come and see me.
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
They know that they're here to do this, but I'm a bit scared and I don't really know. And so they come to me, and this is what I help to clear. This is the deep healing work that we do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To clear the fears around whatever it is that's coming up for them.
Yeah, yeah, which is all perfect in their journey here too, because they've come to clear all that too. Yeah, so I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And yeah, for everybody listening, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation with beautiful Teresa Fino. And all the details to get in contact with Teresa are in the description. So thank you
Very much, Trish. It's been such a joy and a pleasure to chat with you today, and to your audience. Thank you again.
Thank you, thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us. I will see you on the next episode of Trish Rock Inspires. Bye for now.